Russell is the founder, president, and creative director of Keen Eye Media Ltd, a leading full-service advertising agency, media production company, and public relations firm. Erik has more than 30 years' experience in computers and technology and has been directly involved in the development, creation, and maintenance of web content for more than 20 years. From coding, creating the user interface, designing graphic elements, creating photography and video content, and writing the copy that makes up a website. Mr. Russell has hands-on experience with almost every aspect that goes into a successful professional web and social media presence. He now leads a team of 20 media artists and technology professionals at Keen Eye Media that have created and maintained websites for such companies as Cable Bahamas Ltd, Bahamas Ferries, Island Bedding, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Erik Russell.
This is like the Russell show today. There's another Russell up here, and we're not even related. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And thank you for taking time out of your schedule for being here today. It's great to see you guys. You've heard a little bit about who I am and Keen Eye Media. We are a Bahamian company who has been in business for almost 10 years. And as was mentioned, we employ about 20 people. And those people are key to making sure that what we do is at a high standard of excellence and something that everyone can be proud of, Bahamians can be proud of. Today we are talking about web development for your business. But I just want to mention that the reason why our company exists is basically two very simple reasons. One is to help businesses get their message out in a compelling and memorable way. And secondly, it's to help businesses find solutions and do business better. It's not really marketing. We don't like to just say we do marketing because that's just the avenue. That's just the way we get things done and the ultimate goal. But it's really to help companies do business better than they're doing now. And a lot of times that is getting the message out, but sometimes it's changing the way that they conduct their business. I just want to introduce you to our team. And this is most of them. These are actual real people. These are not stock photos. And one of them, a really good looking one there around the middle, is actually sitting just right back here. Bernard Sweeting is our web development and IT person. So he leads the team for all the web development that we do. But it's not just one person. There's at least 10 of those people that are directly involved in our web development services. So it's not just a single individual, and there's a lot of people who provide these services in the Bahamas, but it's really a one-man show. And if that one man or woman gets sick or goes on vacation, sometimes that business comes to a stop. So I just want you to understand that there's a big, good group of people behind that work. Today we're going to hit 6 questions and look at ways that we can get your business online, find new business for you, and better serve your customers. How many people currently have a website for your business? Okay, so about 6 or 7 of us. And how many people currently have a Facebook page for your business? A few more, that's good. And how many of those people that have websites or even on Facebook, are doing online transactions? You're actually getting money from people to do business? 2 or 3, good. Well, we're going to look a little bit more at that, and obviously this whole day is about that. But today, hopefully, the things that I give you will help you get closer to making that happen if that's your objective, and I assume it is, and that's why you're here. So the first one is, we have a Facebook page. Do we need a website? And a lot of people think that you don't. What's the best thing about Facebook? Anybody? Best thing? Everybody's on it. And it's free. Right. That's a pretty compelling business case. Because it's free. Everybody likes free. But you have to look at it for what it really is. And while it is free, you're also occupying someone else's space. They are really the one that's in control. It's kind of like being in a mall, where in a mall, you know, you can rent a space and you can put your sign out front, but it's still their mall. It's still their space. And they get to decide how that mall is marketed. They get to decide how it's branded. And while you can put your sign on there as well, it's still ultimately their space. And you are not in control of all those parts. But one of the best things, as somebody said, is because everybody's on it, right? It's a good way. It's like saying, well, everybody goes to the mall at some point. We don't really have a big mall in Freeport, but in Nassau there's a couple. When we go to Florida, we usually go to the mall. And that's because there are things there that we want. And on Facebook, we go there because the people that we care about, typically, are on there. And that could be a celebrity, or it could be your family, it could be friends. We go there because that's where people that we care about are. And as a business, it's kind of the same thing. It's good for you to have a presence on Facebook because that's where people are. So you don't want to miss the opportunity to speak to them. Facebook is an excellent conduit through which you can communicate with people. You can get your message out, you can make posts, you can run ad campaigns, you can do all of those things. But it is limited in content and layout, and everything you do is always within the framework of Facebook, not your business. So you have to recognize that there are some limitations. The difference with a website is that a website is yours. So the analogy, just to extend that, is it's like building your own building. Or even renting a building that is still independent on its own, and you can decide what color the paint is on the outside. You can decide how it's laid out on the inside. It's yours. And that's what a website is, and that's the big difference. You define the style, the content, the branding, the images, everything that's on the website, you have complete reign over, and you get to control and decide that. A Facebook page is something that every business should have. So if you have a business today and you don't have a Facebook page, you should have it. But a website is also something that every business should have. Because think of Facebook as a potential as one of the doors to get into your business, but the destination is definitely your website online, and then eventually actually doing business with you. And that could be at your actual physical location, or it could be completely online. The one thing that people don't always think about with Facebook is that it does have the potential for tremendous advertising opportunity. It is the way that you can reach someone. But a common mistake we see for businesses, I see it all the time, definitely a couple of times a week, is I see businesses have set up not a Facebook page, but a Facebook profile. Does anybody know the difference? Yes. Okay. So for those of you that don't, if you go to a business's place on Facebook and you see at the top on their cover image, or the big one at the top, and it says add friend, then they have made a mistake. That's a profile. So you don't add friends as a business, you have fans or likes as a business. So if someone has to add your business as a friend and you have to approve them as a friend, then that is not a page. That's not a business setting. Another common thing that people do is, a common mistake, is they go to Facebook and they go to the login page and they create a new account on Facebook for their business. So they use a different name or a different email address, different password, and then they sign in to that account for their business. That's a mistake. See, Facebook has this relationship between you as an individual and your business presence on Facebook, and it is essential. So if you've done that, if you've created multiple accounts on Facebook, one for your business, one for your personal life, you need to fix that. You shut down the business one, go to your normal personal one, and then you create a page for your business, and then that's related to and connected to your personal one. Does everybody get that? Everybody understand that? It is absolutely important that you do that. Just briefly, and we're not here to really talk about Facebook, but it's an important part of a business strategy online. It is when you create a Facebook page for your business under your personal profile, you can then create things like ad campaigns. When you have a professional page for your business, you can also see statistics, which Facebook basically calls insights. But it's the way that you get to see how people are interacting with your page. Are they leaving comments? Are they liking things? Are they interacting with your ads? Those types of things. So that interaction, and the only way for you to understand that and monitor that is if you created a professional Facebook page for your business. Everybody good? All right, any questions at this point? Yep.
So if I do this, because I didn't know that I have two different, I have my personal, where I have over 4,000 friends.
Yep.
Then I have my business where I have about 1,500. So if I close that, do I lose all of these hands, or how do I do that?
You do lose them, but there's two things you can do. One is Facebook does have a process you can go through to convert a personal page to a personal profile to a business page. So they do have a review process, and you can request that, and if they approve it, then great. The other thing is I would post a series of messages on that profile to say, look, I'm starting a page, and here's how you get to it, and try and push as many people as possible there. That's not as likely to succeed, but it does help. And it sounds painful and it sounds difficult to or unpleasant to do, but the opportunities that it creates for you as a business are tremendous, because there's no other way for you to create promotional campaigns and to reach people that way. When you create a campaign, you can do what's called a boost of a post, which is kind of like a quick ad, but then you can also create actual campaigns that have multiple images and different messages. They show up on the top right-hand side on desktop or in the news feed on mobile. You can create Instagram campaigns as well that can include video and photos. So it opens up a whole other realm of opportunity for you to promote your business on Facebook when you have an actual business page. It is worth it, even if it's a little painful along the way. Yeah, but try to do that conversion, and if you're successful with that, it can be quite effective. Any other questions? Anyone about that? Yep.
What can't you boost on Facebook?
The major limitation on Facebook is images that have too much text. They are slackening that limitation now. Facebook looks at, even as a business, a business still has a personality and a character and a voice. They don't think that people come to Facebook to look at ads, and that's kind of true. We come there to see photos or videos that our friends or family post. So when you as a business post an image, they don't want it to look like a billboard. They want it to be an image that's compelling. That's why do you click on your friends' photos? Because they look like they're having a good time, because they're on vacation, because something nice happened in their life, as a birthday party or something. That's why you click on a photo. They want a business to look at it or to be perceived similarly on Facebook too. They want it to be so that when you see an image, it's the image itself, the strength of the image that attracts attention, not a bunch of text on it. So when you see businesses posting a lot of flyers basically on there, they think that gets a lot of information across, but it really doesn't. It actually reduces the amount of engagement that happens. And when they do that, the probability or the likelihood of Facebook accepting it as a boosted ad is almost zero. So you don't want to do that. It doesn't work. Yep.
How do you use Facebook to promote your website?
Well,
So people can go to your website and get the information.
yeah, and that, I'm glad you asked the question, is really one of the primary goals of advertising on Facebook, is you want to get them to your space, which is your website. So you do that by posting an image or an article, could be a blog post or an article on your website that is something that you think would be relevant to people, or a service or a product that you have. If you're doing actual selling online and you have a catalog on your website and it's something that people would want to purchase, say you have it on special, it's a special price for a limited time, you could post about that on Facebook and that's linked back to your website, so when they click on it, they're going to end up on your site. The nice thing about that is Facebook will tell you how successful that is. They will also tell you what the demographics are of the people that actually clicked on it. Yeah. So you know their gender, you know their age, you'll know where they live. And just briefly about a Facebook campaign, it can also be geo-targeted, meaning geographically targeted. So you can say, I want to target this particular ad to people in the Bahamas, or this other ad to people that live in Baltimore, or people who live in Canada. That way, if you have something that's not maybe locally relevant, then you can target or you can do both. You can have a different message for these people and a different message for these people and see which one works better. Okay? Any other questions about that? All right. Second thing is, what is search engine optimization, or as a lot of people call it, SEO? And you probably get a bunch of spam emails that say, hey, we can do your SEO and get you in the first page of results or number one in Google. And that's a lie. That's a lie, just to be clear. No one can guarantee that. So don't fall for it. Someone who was here yesterday said they did. And they got a lot of people from India showing up on their website. Search engine optimization is mostly a back-end process or settings on your website that helps search engines collect relevant information about your website and about the specific pages on your website. So name the top 3 search engines. Anybody? Google? Bing? Yahoo? What's the other one? Firefox is a browser, really not a search engine, but it's, yeah. Bing, search engine, Bing, Yahoo, and Google are really the top 3. Those are ones that you definitely want to make sure that your website is being indexed by. And indexing is simply this. The search engine bots, the software, the algorithms that they have are looking at your website, and they're looking through all the content that's on your website. They're looking through all the pages. They're trying to collect as much relevant, actual, honest information about your site so that when someone searches for those things, it shows up in the results. Right? Make sense? So when it's done right, SEO, search engine optimization of your website, will mean that it will improve your website's visibility or the appearance when people search for things. So if your business is rum cakes and you're selling rum cakes, you want to make sure that the content on your web pages are about rum cakes. You want to make sure that the description of that page is accurate and the title of that page is accurate and that the images on that page are representing that product, and even the alternate text for those images is representing that product. All those things go together for Google to say, oh, that's what you sell. So when someone searches for rum cakes and the word Bahamas, they're going to show up. And maybe the specific type of rum that you use, if it's Ricardo or Bacardi or something like that, maybe you want to put that in there too, because somebody might like that particular kind of rum. They're looking for that kind of rum cake. So there's keywords, there's descriptive phrases, like I mentioned, the content on each individual page, the navigational structure, and all those elements come together for a search engine to find out the most accurate information about your site. There's also something called a site map. And if you think about a document that has like a heading, and then there's a bullet point that has something else, and then there's sort of an indented bullet point about something else at a different level, a site map is kind of like that. And it's a very simple, structured way for a search engine to know this page, it's connected to that page, it's connected to that page. You know, sometimes you search for something on a search engine, and even in the results that you get at the very top, you see a map, and you see the name of that company, and you see their address, and their phone number shows up, and even the first couple of main headings, of main sections of their site show up in that result. Before you even go there, it's showing up actually within Google. That shows you a site that's very well structured and a site that gets a lot of traffic. So if you have your website well designed, the probability of that information, that relevant information, getting in front of people at the very first search is going to be higher. Okay? Be aware that every website designer, developer does not do this. We have seen websites created for local companies, and you could type in that company's name and still they don't show up on the first page. You could type in the exact things that that company sells and they don't show up on the first page of results. How many people go to the third page of search results? Nobody does that, right? It's like I might get to the second page if I'm really desperate, or I just fix my search and try to get you on that first page because I don't really want to click next. But that's true. You know, you want to make sure that the normal things that someone would search for to find your business are the things that show up when someone types that into Google, right? And I'll say this too, it's important that you do what's called keyword research. And this is very easy to do, and there's free tools to help you do that. Keyword research basically means you got your website, it's up and running. What are people searching for that end up on your website? So what are the keywords that people have typed in and ended up on your site? And I guarantee you, if you do that research, you will find things that you had not thought of before. And you'll go, wow, I never thought anybody would put those phrases or those words together and end up on my website. And what that can do is actually influence the content on your website, and you can improve the structure of your site and the content of your site. So you can say, oh, people are looking for this. So what I should do is maybe I'll write an article about that, and that will also help move up my results in search engines. When we do this for our clients, not everybody does it, when we do it, we go through every single page and make sure that the content is relevant, the description of that page is correct, the title of that page is relevant to the particular content on that page. So it's not just a website thing, it's not something you just do for the site, it's something that each individual page on your site should be optimized for to get the best results. Because yes, you may sell this overall product, but the specific things and the way that those break down are also things that people may be searching for. So you need to make sure it's not just a website thing, but each individual page is designed that way. Just to give you a little example, this is the search results when you type in Bahamas ad agencies. And I don't know why I chose that. But first thing that comes up at the top is what? What is this? This is an ad. Somebody paid to get here. Okay, so you can tell it's an ad because it's got that little yellow square at the top and it says ad. So someone paid for that. And then the next few things that show up are actual results. So this next one is BahamasLocal.com, where they have a listing of ad agencies, and that next company is really a good company. This is Keen Eye Media. And notice the description of our page that shows up here in purple. Bahamas Advertising Agency. So it's not actually in our name is not in our description right here. It's what someone's going to look for is actually in the name. The next one down is another company based in Nassau, but if you search for these words, this is going to be the results that you will get. And I wanted to make sure that when somebody searched for these things, we would show up. And you know what? We get business from companies in the States because of that. They call us because they're going, I need somebody in the Bahamas that does advertising, or I need somebody in the Bahamas that does film production or television production. So a couple of weeks ago, we got a job from CBS Sports to go and shoot in 8 Mile Rock, a story about Buddy Hield. They found us online because of that. So, thank you. So when the draft comes around in June, I think it is, you should see all that. Yeah. All right, so search engine optimization is an essential part. Don't just think about the content that's on the front end, but also the back end and the steps to make sure that the company or yourself, if you choose to do it on your own, that the search engine optimization step is a vital one, must happen. Yep.
One question I wanted to ask, because you were talking about the search engine and the keywords, right? And I was thinking, okay, we paid you to create a website for our company. How would we have the access to that website that we could blog? Because I think that now blogging becomes an issue, and we can use those keywords in blogging and up your rate to get on the first page.
When we create websites for our clients, once the site is designed, obviously to your liking, we see the ongoing maintenance and content for that as being a partnership thing. It's something that we work with clients to do. So yes, the answer is yes. You have direct access to the back end of your site. You can do anything you want, but primarily things like if you're doing e-commerce and you have a catalog, that's yours. You know, go and add products or remove products or update the description or whatever on your own. If you have a news section, a blog section where you want to update articles, you can do that. We have a client that I'll talk about later that has schedules that change frequently, and they change that themselves. So when it comes to maybe more website structural things, navigation, design things, you know, typically they ask us to do that stuff because they don't have time to do it or they're not good at it. Yeah. Any other questions about SEO? All right. So what are the essentials for a business website? Now very generally speaking, there's two kinds of websites. One is, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way because a lot of people just do it, one is basically an information site, or it's an online brochure. So a few years ago, before most people had websites, they would print a brochure and they would hand those out at conferences, or when somebody walked in the door, here's a brochure of what we do and who we are. And a lot of websites today are simply that. It's an online brochure. Here's our company, here's what we do, here's our history. And that's perfectly fine because that might be the extent of your presence that you want to have online. And those sites, typically the content there is the principals or the people that own the business. And the reason that you do that, that's an important thing to do, is because it helps to build trust, right? You want people to know who you are and why should I listen to you? Why should I believe the things that you have to say? So giving people that, as well as the history of your company, helps people know, I can trust what you say. Because you have history. You didn't just, you weren't born yesterday. So those are the kind of things that people definitely want to see and I think should be on every site. The next thing is the products and services that you sell. What business are you in? What do you do? And then the other key one would be contact information. So how can I reach you? I don't know if you've ever been to a site. I have, and it's really frustrating to go there and go, I just want to know where you are, man. I want to know, where are you? How can I get you? Like, are you going to disappear tomorrow? You want me to trust you, but you don't want to tell me where you live. Not where you live, but where you do business. So tell me where your business is. Give me an email address and a phone number. How can I reach you if I need to? Yes, it's cool that you have a website. That's great. But I want to know that you actually exist. And I know some companies don't do that because they want to do all their business online. And you might be able to make a case for that to an extent, but I think that it helps, again, to build that trust. People do business with people that they know, that they like, and that they trust. And for people to know, like, and trust you, you've got to give them information. You've got to give them some, evidence. You've got to show me and prove to me that I should do business. You are worthy of my business, of my money. So the more information you can give there. And another thing that it would be good is a map. Where are you? Exactly. And that's pretty easy to do nowadays. Even in the Bahamas, it's easy to do because Google has maps here, and Apple Maps have very detailed maps, so there's really no excuse not to do that. If you have a place that you do, have a front shop space where people can walk through the door, or a desk or somewhere that people can find you, have a map. The other type of website is an e-commerce site where you're actually transacting business. People are giving you money and you're giving them back a product or a service. So the other essential parts of a site that is an e-commerce site would be some type of catalog or index or listing of the products or services or options that people can choose from. So maybe you have a tour company and here's one package and it's for 2 people and you get a kayak and a bike ride, and here's another package and it could be a Jeep rental or it could be something else, some other option, and you need to have that listing very clear. Here's the price and here are the options. There needs to be a way on your website to enter and categorize your products so that there should be subcategories and not just here's one big long listing, but a way for people to find things in a logical way that they are thinking, not the way you think, but the way that they think. But for less than $1,000, we will put together a website for you that is a single page, but it actually has sections in it that look and feel like separate pages. So there's a menu at the top in different sections. When people click on those, it scrolls down to the other one. It's very sexy. Honestly, it looks great, and it's a great way to get started. And that same website structure that we create can be developed into much more. There's a lot that can be added to that without ripping the guts out and starting all over again. So it is a good way for you to get started. And it's a good way for your business to get its presence online and still look very professional along the way. You mean like ongoing maintenance? That depends too. We have different packages that start as low as 2 hours a month, and I think that's $100 a month. But that's 2 hours plus technical support, and you can call us, almost 24/7 for support. So it includes back-end work and creative work. So we have different packages of different size. I need somebody who's going to create, graphics for me every month. I need to create, new pages like the landing pages. We can do that as basically a package and say every month I want to have a special, I want to have a new landing page, I want new graphics on it and things like that. So we also write the copy or the text that appears on your page. That's all. It all depends on how much work you need.
Obviously, that we sorry. That one page does not allow it to be interactive and to conduct transactions.
That does not include the e-commerce elements, but that can be added into that same size of a page. It's not like you can't do that with that type of page. Okay, Miranda?
Is there, when you talk about this maintenance package that you do, for example, what kind of suggestion do you make for changes in a business's landing page? How often should they be trying to update a site? Should it be weekly, monthly, quarterly?
Again, it does depend on the type of business that you're in. How much changes in your business? How many new things do you offer? How much new information is there about your business? And we encourage people to create a lot of new content to your site because that's what keeps people coming back. Just as an analogy for a retail store, if you walk into a retail store and you see the same thing on the same shelf every time, it just disengages you, right? Like it's boring. And you want to keep your website the same way. Fresh content not only keeps people coming back to your site, because it's pretty easy to get someone to come to your website the first time. It's to get them coming back, right? If you have a restaurant, we all know we love new things, especially new restaurants. And so when a new restaurant opens, we all want to try it out. Even if it's Wendy's, we want to try it out. But the trick is getting me to come back to your restaurant. So was the food good and the service good? Was it quick? Those are the things that keep you coming back. So for your website, the analogy is if you have fresh content on there that is relevant to people, and you're letting them know that you have new content, so it could be through an email that goes out every month or through your Facebook page, you're promoting it. That's the way you get people to come back when there's something new. So the answer is, I think you should be updating your website every week. We have clients on social media, for example, where we post as many as 5 times a day for our clients in social. And that could be in multiple places. So Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook, 5 to 10 posts a day. And what that does is it's a touch point, right? Hey, over here. Hey, it's me. My business is right here. That's what you're doing, is you're going, hey, I got this thing. You probably might be interested in this. Check this out, right? Or it could be something that has nothing to do with your business, but just, this is kind of funny, or this is cool. It's a way for you to maintain, what is it, top of mind awareness, right? Yeah, you want to make sure that people think of you first when they think of what you have. So, I sell rum cake, think of that guy first. That's what you want. That's called top of mind awareness. Okay? 1 second, somebody back there, yep.
You talked earlier about shopping cart. Does that apply to services? Meaning, like, okay, I'm in the business of boat maintenance, and one of the services I offer is underwater inspection. How do using the online, the e-commerce, how do I, not actually a product that I'm bringing to you, we're a mobile business.
Yep.
You just call us and we come. But how do I?
It's exactly the same thing, to be honest. I mean, you give descriptions for the different levels of service. So maybe your different prices are based on the size of the boat, the length of the boat. So if you have a boat from this size to this size, here's the price and here's what we include. If it's this size or that size, here's it. So people can still check. Yep, I'm interested in that. Add it to my cart. Check out. They pay for it. You get notification and you call to make the appointment, or they tell you in the process when they want the appointment for. So there's ways to, even in the process of providing professional services online, to book appointments. And if your service is set up correctly, it should say, this is what's available and here's what's not available. Here's where I have bookings and here's where I'm available to do it. Yes, sir.
Assume that you have contractual obligations with 2 American companies, but you want your website to be linked to those 2 companies.
Yep.
Can that be done also from that one page?
Absolutely. Yep. There's no limitation on that at all. Not at all. Yep.
What price is your app stand at?
It's very difficult to say, to be honest. It really depends. I'd rather talk a little bit more about what you wanted to do before I say. That's like asking me how much does it cost to build a house. It depends. Okay, let's move on. So what makes a website yours? Remember at the beginning we were talking about Facebook compared to a website, and how Facebook's not really yours, you're just occupying someone else's space. What is it that makes a website yours? So here's what it is. It is the branding, your logo, graphical elements, its color schemes. How does that fit in with your logo design or your color palette for your company? Those are things that make it yours. Custom photography. Photography of the images that are actually your people doing your business, not stock images. I know there's a limitation of, how much is it, and I can go to Google Images and find something. But first of all, doing that and putting it on your website is illegal. And yes, you can be charged a fine for that. There is penalty. Just because you're in the Bahamas doesn't mean it doesn't apply. You can pay a penalty. So getting custom photography done is not an expensive option. We do that as well. So we have staff photographers. We take pictures in our studio. We come to your location. We'll shoot your building. We'll shoot your people at work. We'll shoot, we'll even find talent to play the role of a customer so that we can kind of set them up and kind of do it and make it look how we want it to look. Custom photography, though, remember what I said about know, like, and trust? Custom photography helps to build like and trust because it adds some legitimacy to the fact that you actually do what you say you do. It's not just you saying it, and here's a stock photo of pretty people in a nice space, but that's not really my space. It helps when somebody walks through the door and goes, oh, I saw this on your website. And it's real. It's a real place. It's also just honest. Like, run an honest business. Don't mislead people. Don't make promises you can't deliver. And sometimes a stock photo is a promise you cannot deliver. So just don't do it. It's easy to get around. Show real humans, human beings, faces, people that, you know, are expresses an attitude about your company as well. Don't just put up pictures of buildings and tractors or boats or whatever. Show people, because people have an emotional connection to people. It makes them feel different, even if it's not your people. Like, say you're showing pictures of customers enjoying your product, beverage or food or whatever it is. Use people. Don't just show a picture of a plate of fish. It should be someone enjoying that, right? Just don't show them with a mouth open, sticking it in. I'm just going to give you an example here. We created and we maintain Cable Bahamas' website. So I'm going to show you two examples. This, obviously, these guys don't work for Cable Bahamas, but these are products that they sell, right? So the top banner here is a representation of the products that they have to offer, the same thing as this right here. The next slide shows you the customer support section, and this person actually works for Cable Bahamas. They're real staff. So we brought them in the studio and we shot them so that we can put it together in a composition with products and things like that. This phone, we shot that phone in our studio. You know, these are things that the remote control, we shot that for them, and then our graphic designers put them together into a collage that looks like that. So showing real people actually doing business for you. Here's a website we created for Bahamas Ship and Logistics, and when we did this for them, they didn't own a truck. They didn't actually own one yet. But they were getting one, they just didn't have it. So I asked the owner, I said, well, what kind of truck are you getting? Like, give me an idea. And so he showed me a picture of the truck, and we designed this to look like it was their truck, but it was actually like the truck that they were going to buy. It wasn't like a Honda Fit or something. It was an actual truck that looked like this, so that we could create this branding so that it reinforced who they actually were. So there are cases like that where, well, I don't really have it right now, but I am getting it, and it is an accurate, genuine representation of who we are. So just to go back for a second to the Cable Bahamas example, for them, we create custom photography, we do the graphic design, we create illustrations for them, we write the content, we actually write their press releases. So if you go to the press room section of their website, all that content that you see there was written by our staff. We help them with customer service. We actually, influence the way that they do that, so that it's not just a dream. It should be the reality. And yes, things go wrong. We all know they do in the service business, but we want at least it to be connected to reality and not just be a fantasy. The products and packages and bundles and how they show up on the website, we help them think that through of what makes sense. How should this package be designed on a web page so that people can look at it and understand it? Because it's a little complex, right, to figure out how many channels and what packages, and I bundle them together and I want to add phone service and internet and all that thing. We help them figure out how does that make sense. And we also do graphic design for print and things, so we'll take that same design and adapt it into a postcard that they give out at their mall store. So having all those things consistent and work together in every experience and touch point that your customers have with your business is very important. We also create landing pages for special offers for them. So if they have a special offer going on, there's a particular web page that we design specifically for that promotion. Any questions about making a website your own? Anything? Okay. Moving right along. All right, so how do I get my website up and running? What are the steps? How do I get there? So we did talk a little bit earlier, so I won't spend a lot of time on this, about using a website creator service, something that you can basically pay a subscription to, and then you can use that service to create the website. And it does work. It may be a solution for you, but more often than not, you don't really have the time to do that. You might be able to do the creation, but maybe not the maintenance. But it does limit the amount of customization and things that you can do. It also it just simply doesn't come with design skills. I was saying to someone yesterday that if I had the money, I could go out and buy an airplane, but that does not make me a pilot. So yes, you can go and buy a website creator service, but that does not make you a designer. And it also doesn't instantly grant you free time to do it. So you have to look at that and say, is this something that requires a special skill? Do I have this skill, or do I need to hire that skill and bring it in? If you do decide to hire a company such as ourselves or someone else, there are a few key things that you need to make sure that that company can do. Number one, they need to have design skills. And you need to get them to show you examples of their work, and then you decide whether or not that's good enough for you. Don't just take their word for it. Ask for work, ask for examples. So design is important because it influences the interface, the user experience that people have when they go to your website, the consistency, the color, the graphics, accurately representing your company's brand and image. You want to make sure that the things that people see are accurate to what you say. So when you tell them this is who you are, does this represent that accurately on your website? The second thing you want people to have, so you want design skills, and then you want technical skills. And those skills are as simple as maybe you don't even want to do your domain registration. Trust me, it's not difficult, but there are elements to that that you want to make sure are done right. And it's not just registering the domain and then moving on. There's a little bit of domain management that has to happen along the way. Again, not rocket science, but that's the kind of thing that we do for our clients too, is help them manage their domain or domains. Some people have multiple ones. Web hosting is another part of the technical skills, making sure that the company has a web server that is reliable, that is up and fast all the time. And then managing other things like managing email accounts, dealing with spam, managing a server, and making sure that the server is the right size for your needs. And then the last thing under technical is support and training. So if somebody wants to create content for their own website, most people don't know how to do that today, but it's not that difficult. If you can use, if you can use Facebook, you can probably figure it out. But you may need some training just to get you up and started and get you going, and that's another important service to have. The last important thing of 3 skills is content development, is creating the content that goes on the site. So as Miranda was asking earlier about how often should that be done, well, can it even be done? Is that something that you're going to do on your own, or are you going to hire a company to do? And just another example of that, here's the website that we created for Bahamas Ferries. And this required a combination of all those skills: design skills, technical skills, and content development skills. So this website has things like an online booking engine over here on the left, so you can book a trip on Bahamas Ferries. At the top is a service update bar. This is like a crawl that shows things like updated weather information, if the schedule's being affected by bad weather, or if they have a special offer, or if there's a freight option that you may not know about. There's photos up here. These images are photos that we've taken for them. And then online, there's also, on their website, there's also articles and things that we've written about the services that they have. So whether it's freight or tours or excursions and things that people can do when they go to different islands. It's important for the company that creates your website to actually dig in a little bit to your business and not just, well, send me, your history and, send me your principal bios and things like that. You want somebody who actually understands what your business does and digs in a little bit more so that they get to know who you are and not just what you do, because that comes across in the attitude and the personality of your site. You also want a company that will do and offer maintenance, as we were talking before, about regular packages for regular updates and keeping your website fresh. And, okay, moving on. Now that I have a website, what do I do next? So you've got your website, it's up and running, and what is next? A couple important things, we touched on some of these, is a campaign to drive traffic to your site, and that can be on Facebook. Could also be in the Google ad network, which is extremely powerful. There's also something called remarketing. Does anybody know what remarketing is? Remarketing is, you know when you go to Amazon and you search for something like a bicycle, and then for the next week, all you see on other websites are ads for bicycles on Amazon. Wow, that's a coincidence. No, that's remarketing. That is them saying, well, you're interested in this thing, you've indicated interest because you searched for it, or maybe you added it to your cart but you didn't purchase it, and they put a little thing on your browser that says this person was interested in this product, and now they start serving specific ads to you even when you're on a completely unrelated website. That is remarketing. We do that for our clients. So as a little creepy as that is, it's business, right? It's, I am interested in this thing, so why not just keep reminding them about that thing? And there's different ways you can do that, different messages and different ways you can present it to them. So it's something we encourage people to do because it is a way to continue touching that interest that your customer has. The other important thing is what happens next is analysis, reporting and analysis. How do I know that what I'm doing is working? If you run a radio ad or a newspaper ad, the answer is, I don't know. Because the only way I could really know is, are people walking through your door specifically because of that radio ad, or was it the newspaper ad? How many people saw your newspaper ad? You don't know. You really don't know. You know how many newspapers the newspaper printed that day, maybe. You know that your ad ran on the radio because you heard it, but how many other people heard it? They cannot tell you that. Do you know how many radio stations there are in Nassau? 24. 24. There are 24 local radio stations in Nassau. How many more people are there in Nassau today than there were 10 years ago? There's more, still too many, but there's still about the same number of people, but now there's 24 radio stations. So the pie is the same size, just all the pieces got a lot smaller. And there's a couple of radio stations that are bigger than others, obviously, but they cannot tell you how many people heard your ad. The beauty of social media, the beauty of a website, is I can tell you exactly how many people clicked, how many people saw, how many people engaged. I can tell you, assuming that their information on Facebook is correct, I can tell you their gender and their age, even some cases what their interests are. So the information, the relevant information you have as a business owner is much more useful, much more actionable than you would have had with a newspaper or radio ad. We help with the analysis, tracking, reporting of that. And just to give you a real quick look at that, this is one of the services that we offer. Sorry that this screen is not sized correctly. But engagement events by network, this is all data from our own Kenai Media's stuff. So we're looking at Facebook, MailChimp, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Constant Contact, our website, all of those things. This tells me engagement levels here by network. Down at the bottom, over the last month, I had 2,093,047 page impressions, or 69, almost 70,000 a day, based across different networks. So this, and then this one up here was sort of a summary of different things, tweets, mentions, retweets. This is Twitter up here. So we can give you detailed information. You can get this for your website using primarily Google Analytics. Facebook gives you things called Insights, which is your stats. But what we do is we have tools that we pull all that from all the different parts, all those networks you see there, plus other ones, and we put them together into a single report so you can see it all at once and you see how they connect to each other. The last thing you need to do when you have a website up and running is you need to let people know. I have a website. So stop using Gmail and Hotmail, like Valdez was saying earlier. Stop using those. You have a domain, then it should be myname@mycompany.com. Not myname@somebodyeelsescompany.com, because that's stupid. Use your domain for your email address. So every time you send an email, guess what you're letting people know? Hey, I have a website. You should check it out. You should put it on your business cards, put it on your signage, put it on your receipts, on your invoices. make sure that people know about it. Get people's email addresses and send them emails so that they know, hey, go to our website. You want to find out more about what we do? Here it is right here. Or here's an article about our boat cleaning service. Did you know that we do this? They probably didn't know, and they can click on a link, very easy, and go and find out more about it. So let them know. You can do it through email, do it through having a custom email address, put it on your vehicles. You know, why not do that if you're driving around town, letterheads and all those other things. Any questions about letting people know about your business and your website? Okay, so last thing is, you just want to make sure that you are giving Bahamian customers the same level of service that people expect from people like Amazon. There's no reason why. They deserve it. There's no reason why they should have any less. And the question is, are you ready to give it to them? There's lots of things that you can do that we've talked about that you can start giving it to them very quickly. Any other questions? Anyone? Yep.
Erik, would you recommend having your name at your domain or company or info or both?
Depends how you want to use it. On my business card, it's my name at my company. But that wouldn't be what I would put on my website for somebody who wants to, ask us a general question. You could use info. We use getit@keeneyemedia.com because we kind of like how that sounds together, get it at us. But it could be more specific, like if we do wedding photography and video, so weddings@keeneyemedia.com. So you can use those and just kind of like Valdez, or no, someone else was saying earlier that, press 1 for this, 2 for that. It could be 10 different email addresses, but they all go to the same person. But it still feels like I'm being more specific about what my interest is.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I have so many, I have actually 75 domains, which is crazy. So,
That's good.
but whenever, I was thinking that maybe it's confusing for people to, if I have a campaign, to just put that info@campaign.com. I thought maybe it's getting confusing.
It depends how personal you want to be. If you have a photo of yourself in a flyer or on a landing page, you might want to put your personal email address. But then you got to deal with that then, if that's what people are emailing you at. Do you want that to be out there? It's kind of a question. Anything else? Everybody's hungry? Yep. All right. Thank you all very much for your time.